Once upon a time, there was the Mesmerizer incident. The entire world saw this idiot music video, cried for Teto Kasane, and made the producer, Satsuki, a household name. The question remained for the next couple of months though. What was next for him?
Meat.
Obsolete Meat is the most recent song released by Satsuki, and is likely among one of the most anticipated songs of the year, as many wanted to see where Satsuki would go after Mesmerizer's tiny success. Maybe a sequel with the yellow one that people are talking about, or even a little something for the fan-made video game. No joke, those really happened. On Satsuki's end though, there was basically silence for what his next project would be. But suddenly, on November 8th, 2024, Obsolete Meat was released to the world to wide love. The animation budget was certainly reduced, and that's okay. In fact, I'd like to argue that it's a part of the message Satsuki's trying to tell us from his underground prison. From this music video. That's right, baby. It's analysis time. The song begins with Miku and Teto drinking water and eating many fancy meals. Try to think of this as a metaphor for the consumption of anything in general. It'll make sense in a bit.
After a single dish, suddenly only the way they were treated was 3 stars.
At this point in the story, Satsuki was only an average Vocaloid producer with little cultural impact, and there's nothing wrong with that. He was humble and had a huge variety of dishes to offer to those who chose to gander at what he had. But the unfortunate truth is that most people in the audience won't care about the deeper meaning of the music or the love and care put into the dishes. They just want fancy visuals.
In fact, you are only aware of the appearance, but the taste is not important.
Why do you think Mr. Beast is popular? You can especially understand what I mean with this line.
The menu prepared with all might, if not conveyed to an audience, is meaningless.
Satsuki has all of these songs that most people didn't really care about. Of course, until he took a sip from the forbidden drink. Phosphori lamino imidazo le sukino carboxide. Mesmerizer, Mesmerizer, Mesmerizer. There are a lot of allusions to Mesmerizer in the song. Like the interludes literally parody the Teto and Miku tag team dancing side by side. The musical structure, a scene that looks awfully similar to the pre-hypnosis scene from Mesmerizer. Spoilers! The Mesmerizer dish has become extremely popular with people, so much so that it's becoming the only thing people know the restaurant for.
To the god of the eclipsing tendency, the slave who serves the same tastes again. As long as you're satisfied, I don't care how I feel.
This god of the eclipsing tendency and the slave is the idea of our hidden desire to go see what's popular and consume it because it's popular. Who cares what people think about the song? As long as people like and subscribe, wink wink, you can make a song about spitting on a baby's forehead. But as long as you add colorful ADHD graphics, kids will eat it up. The quotations in the last 2 lines are important to note, as it talks about the general expectation of what many people would do in Satsuki's shoes. Continue reusing the Mesmerizer formula, and ride off into the sunset. And fall into mediocrity. At least for now. Satsuki talks about what will come after the Mesmerizer train finally dies down.
Will you still be there? Will you still be next to me?
Obsolete Meat is a loyalty test. Yeah, when Mesmerizer released in April 2024, we were all fans of Satsuki. But will we all be fans of Satsuki in 2025? That's the question he's proposing to all of us. And the uncomfortable truth is that most of these people will move on to the next inevitable fad, leaving Satsuki to rot behind by these so-called fake followers.
In an extension of fads and fashions, we simply rot away. It's not even past the expiration date, and discarded without a second thought. Next order.
When Miku and Teto were peacefully eating their crepes, they were suddenly pulled away by a mysterious force. Ladies and gentlemen, the person behind that shadow is...
SpongeBob!
Akita Neru, the yellow one that wasn't in Mesmerizer. This may appear to be some fan service scene, but hear me out. I need some extra magic salt for this one. What if Akita Neru, a character that fans theorized was the culprit behind Mesmerizer, represents the people pressuring Satsuki to make more Mesmerizer-like songs at the expense of his mental health, which I believe is shown in Miku and Teto's expressions. Or maybe it's a little Easter egg for the Mesmerizer crowd, I don't know. Perhaps there is a reason as to why the Mesmerizer jabs are a bit discreet in this song.
Following in the footsteps of your own success, maybe being too greedy could be counterproductive, right?
There are a bunch of empty plates waiting to be washed, while Miku and Teto are stuffed. This is Satsuki's ultimate fear. The idea of only trying to chase the dragon of what made him popular in the first place. Yeah, you could make sequel upon sequel to a popular product, but it gets boring, and it'll make you feel like... that.
Don't worry about the reputation. Let's do whatever we want.
At least when it comes to Satsuki, the last two lines are probably his intention for the future. He's not going to fall for the slop content machine. He's going to do what he wants and what he loves. He understands that trends come and go, and it's just a part of life. The ending of the song shows Miku and Teto wobbling around like a bunch of drunkos on the freeway, then collapsing of exhaustion.
After you've devoured,
To your heart's content, clasp your hands together and thank you for the meal.
I honestly see Obsolete Meat as a warning in over-consuming the same thing over and over again. Say, for example, Mesmerizer, hey. After you've consumed the same song tens of hundreds of times, you become exhausted, and it feels like you're about to get one of those migraines with pictures of vomiting. TLDR, it's a song commentating on trending topics from the perspective of someone affected with the curse, and also a little bit of venting and hope for the future. And food. Lots of well-drawn food. I don't know where to put this, so 2 extra things. The first is how many people draw musical similarities between Obsolete Meat and Mesmerizer, and think it's intentional. Yeah, no, I kinda disagree. I remember listening to many of Satsuki's other songs in the car once, and when Circus Panic came on, the switches in my head almost made me crash because, yeah, you can hear a little bit of Mesmerizer in almost all of his songs. Because that's his style. You'll commonly hear a fast-paced ADHD beginning. It settles down for a moment, but the song builds itself up over time until a pause happens right before the last bar. Then the song pitches itself up a bit to make your ears bleed of joy. You can hear a bit of that in Obsolete Meat, but it's way calmer than Mesmerizer. Perhaps it's another of Satsuki's ways of telling us, I want my new songs to stand on their own. But it's not like he hates us. That's because... Number 2. The thumbnail has the text, itadakimasu, a Japanese phrase that you say when receiving a meal. It's Satsuki's way of telling us that, despite the big dilemma he's in, he's still very thankful for the huge amount of love and support that he got from literally everyone, and hopes that the few people who do genuinely love his discography will support him in the future. What is Obsolete Meat? It's quite obvious. Obsolete Meat isn't a song about cooking like in Ratatouille. Rather, it's Satsuki venting about his anxiety on what comes next in his music career. He's in a very unique situation, where Mesmerizer managed to give him a ton of attention that, frankly, anyone would kill for. However, the select few that were in his shoes before went down one of two paths. They either continue making songs that please themselves at the massive risk of their so-called new fans departing the second something seems boring, thus falling into obscurity once again. Or they could go down the slop route. Continue to make songs that purely appeal to the audience while making the artist feel like crap. It's almost like making 29 parts of Mesmerizer is a bad idea. Go figure. Remember the scene with the empty plates? That's you after consuming the same thing day after day. When you do so, you don't care anymore. You just want that same high you got when listening to Mesmerizer for the first time. Spoiler! You will never get it back. And that's okay. It's an opportunity to seek new bounds, discover new obsessions that will ruin you mentally, and find new ways to discover enlightenment. Or, of course, you can subject yourself to listening to Mesmerizer for 24 hours straight. Your choice. On its own, Obsolete Meat is a good song, but understanding the context behind it made it feel wholesome, strangely enough. Satsuki is worried for his future, but he's still humble from the success of Mesmerizer. I think he's going to make great things in the future. But if you want some recommendations, please listen to these songs. They are really good. Please, 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 please.
Hello, I'd like to order a Super Big Mac.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We don't have any more meat to make it.
What?
I'll say it again. The meat is obsolete.
No. No.